It has been just the hardest thing to just go through and deal with for what was supposed to be 4 years of my life. I really looked forward to.
What years did you attend North Kingstown High School?
From 1997 to 2001.
2016 to 2020.
I graduated in 99.
Soccer was my main sport.
I played hockey. I ran cross country.
Basketball and soccer.
Aaron Thomas would have been the varsity head coach, sort of the person who runs the entire basketball program.
Did you also take a class with the defendant?
Communications.
Did you become aware of what's now being called a fat testing program?
I did.
He described basically that he wanted to be able to track my physical growth as I kind of progressed through the athletic program there.
It was kind of an open secret amongst kids in the school.
Just the two of us, small office, closed door.
Down to my boxers. There was a caliper, and he would pinch various parts of my body.
At a certain point, he asked if I was shy.
Shy or not shy.
Every single fat test.
I had no idea what he meant.
It was positioned to me that the response is to say you're not shy, to get naked, and everybody does it.
The rationale he gave to me is that, hey, I need to take certain measurements. It's a lot easier if you don't have your boxers on.
When he asked me to take off my underwear, I kind of was caught off guard.
I want to say shy, but I can't. My other friends did it, so I did it. Shyness was weakness. I didn't want to disappoint him.
And I kind of equated doing what your coach and staff says with being a good teammate. Based on my response of yes, I'm shy, it still meant that the boxers were coming off, but I was covering up.
It felt like he had a power over me at that time. It felt like I wasn't strong enough to say no. I didn't know what would happen if I said no.
There is an implied trust with, your educators and your coaches that what they're doing is right. So I think while it made me uncomfortable, certainly, and I was embarrassed, it was something I just kind of felt like I kind of had to do.
Did you have any idea that he was going to ask you to remove your boxers prior to entering that room?
No, I just felt like it wasn't necessary at the time, and I always, going into the test, I would always feel like a little anxious about going into the test because I knew what was coming next. But the first few times I just left them on because I didn't see it being necessary. And I knew everything could be done with the boxers on. So each test after that, I would definitely get anxious going into it. But at the same time, I wanted to. He was a teacher. He was a well-respected coach in the school. So I would question myself on whether I should listen to him or not. It was always back and forth in my head. What should I do? Am I going to do it today?
What's the next set of tests that are conducted now that you're naked?
There was like the V muscle that kind of leads from your hips down to your genitals, and that area would be pinched with the caliper as well.
I recall there being several pinches, and so I remember one being on my love handle, one being on my chest, and then one being near my groin.
About as far up on my thigh as possible, sort of close to where that area would meet your genitals.
It would just feel me out.
I had my leg up on a chair, and the pinch was very close to my upper inner thigh.
I was back against the wall with my legs fully spread out. And the puberty points were being pressed on again.
In this small office, I would be naked. I would be crouched down, my back pretty much against the door, and he would have me in that crouched position, naked, walk across the office.
During that portion of the test that you described, when his hand would be on your butt, were you naked for that portion?
That did not start until after I started taking my underwear off.
Seated on the ground, naked in a butterfly position, being instructed to lift my genitalia up off the ground, essentially. And he poked around my abdomen and then in my thighs. And I asked him, that was the first time I confronted him, because at this point I kind of questioned the legitimacy of this. And I asked him, what was that for? And I remember vividly, without looking me in the eyes, he told me a hernia test.
I successfully did the tests a few times with my underwear on, so I don't understand why I need to get naked. I thought about him being a coach. I thought about, should I just do it? Do I have to do this? It was awkward, kind of confusing.
I observed that he was aroused. It's impossible to miss. I don't know. It's thrown in my face.
Where was Coach Thomas in relation to your body when this test was taken?
Just on a knee in front of me.
How close was his face to your genitals?
Like 6 inches.
How did you feel at that time?
Disassociative. You just kind of look forward and assume that there's a legitimate reason to do it, and you just wait for it to pass. I would lay on my stomach, one where I would put my hands behind my back and try to raise my chin up as high as I could. And the other, I would be in the same position laying on my stomach, and he would throw a pen on the ground like I'm a dog. And I would have to grab the pen and put my hands up above the head. And he would measure to see how high I could raise my hands off the ground. I thought he was singling me out because I was a good basketball player. He was singling me out because he was trying to get me naked.
So it's your testimony that Coach Thomas picked you, the 7th grader, to start your fat testing.
Yes, it is. I believe that there's a high probability of causation between fat testing and my time spent at Butler.
Not even a whiff of, hey, this coach is touching me inappropriate. Nothing like that shows up.
Because I had just turned 18 and I was going to have to testify by myself without my parents.
So you knew that what was happening was wrong, that it was a sexual assault, but you deliberately held back.
As a matter of self-preservation, yes, that's correct. After decades of processing what had happened to me in that time frame, I believe strongly that I was in a position of shell shock, that if I uttered those words, they were going to get thrown back in my face.
Such as they have today?
Exactly.
Coach Thomas never placed his hands on your genitals, correct?
No, sir.
That's correct.
There was no sexual penetration of any kind.
None at all.
And at no point in time during any of the tests did Coach Thomas ever make any sexually charged remarks?
No.
Did you ever indicate that you didn't want to participate?
No.
Each and every testing session, is it fair to say that that was voluntary?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like when you're voluntold something. Looking back on it as an adult, I wish I had just kind of said no.
Did you find these tests helpful in terms of what was described to you that would be sort of growth potential and progression of your muscular strength or body throughout high school?
No.
Why did you come forward to the police?
I read an article by or about Michaela Maroney related to Larry Nassar U.S. women's gymnastics abuse scandal. Up until that time, I would almost laugh off the testing in a sense. Like, oh, you know what? I did it. We all did it. All our friends did it. I never got penetrated, so therefore, it was no big deal. Yeah, we got naked, but, who cares? When I read that article, I looked at it in a totally different perspective, in a perspective that was what happened to me is not okay.
I'm here today because I believe in right and wrong.
because I wanted to stop other kids' heads from being mentally. I felt that I was speaking out on something that was wrong and something that, with a more mature perspective, had ruined my head in ways that some therapists of mine don't even know.